Hello students, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another video from QuickStudy, and this video covers external influences from topic 1.5, Understanding External Influences on Businesses. And in this video, we are going to learn about the importance of external influences on businesses, and it includes the possible responses by businesses to the changes in technology, legislation, and the economic climate. Alright, so firstly, what you need to understand is that entrepreneurs often strive to control the future of their business. However, the reality is much more complex. You see, what happens is individual companies will frequently encounter challenges which can disrupt a lot of their plans. And the older and the bigger a company is, the more time and money is spent on trying to control these external influences. But what happens when you cannot really control these external influences? What you need to do is you need to effectively face these challenges and come up with strategies. And there are three factors that needs to be taken into consideration during the decision-making process on how you can adapt to these changes. So the changes will come in relation to technology, legislation, and the economic climate. And the better or the more flexible and responsive businesses in terms of responding to these changes, the more or the easier it becomes for the business to navigate through these problems. All right, now let's take a look at how technology impacts businesses. So technology changes can significantly impact business. And if I had to give you an example, London's black cab taxi drivers saw their incomes reduced by almost 50% after the arrival of Uber in 2016. And how they responded was that they took it to the government by arguing to push for free Wi-Fi connections and contactless card readers, and they also wanted zero emission black cab taxis by 2018. And this upgrade ultimately benefited the consumers, and it was in direct response to the competition that they were facing. And the similar instance occurred in Frankfurt, Germany, when after the arrival of Uber, the taxi drivers used legislation and argued about safety and concerns over regulations for Uber. And in Germany also, they were actually successful by keeping Uber at bay through government action. And this is how businesses worldwide will adapt to technological changes through innovation or by use of legislation. And this is exactly how they also shapes their industry's future. All right, now here are a few more examples on how businesses have responded to changes in technology. So in May 2016, UK Airbus introduced their first robotics. And they wanted to introduce robotics because robots are actually cheaper, faster, and more flexible. And because they were faced with the challenge to increase their output by over 50%, introducing robots into their manufacturing processes was actually a strategic move. And in another example, the newspaper company, The Independent, actually closed their print editions in February 2016 because they saw that their sales actually slumped. So instead, they actually decided to continue with their online newspaper versions only. So their newspapers are now exclusively available online. So starting from manufacturing industry to the media industry, businesses are adapting to these technological changes, and this is reshaping their entire operations and business strategies. All right, now let's talk about how businesses respond to changes in legislation. Now, legislation can bring about both opportunities and threats for businesses. If I had to give you an example, in 1996, the landfill tax was introduced, and the tax rate and the law was put in place to encourage recycling. And the rates started off from 30% in 1999, and it increased to a whopping 86.5% in 2015. And what this law did was that it encouraged businesses to recycle more. And because of this law, new recycling companies started to emerge, even though there were a few companies who resorted to illegal dumping. And despite these new opportunities, many businesses still see legislation as a form of burden. And businesses will actually respond in various ways to this new legislation. And if I had to give you an example, after the credit crunch during the 2007 to 2009 period, after the central banks become much more strict and stringent on the policies and procedures that were to be followed by the financial institutions, since there were more paperwork involved, they hired more people to overlook these issues. And this actually ate away into the bank's sales and profits. And adapting to legislative changes through innovation, compliance, or restructuring is actually crucial for future success. Alright, now let's take a look at how businesses respond to changes in economic climate. So as we have already talked about this, businesses must constantly adapt to the changing economic climate that they're operating in. So in good times, what businesses do is hire new staff, invest, and launch new products. They best anticipate the needs and train staff regularly, because short-term thinking can lead to panic hiring and other bad decisions. If I had to give you an example, Jaguar Land Rover reduced their risk of currency by opening their factories in countries like China, Brazil, Austria, and Slovakia. And similarly, Unilever had aimed for over 50% of their sales to come from developing countries. And today it's actually true, as over 60% of their sales come from countries like China and India. So you need to understand that strategic planning is crucial and risk diversification is needed to help businesses thrive. Well, you need to understand that entrepreneurs quickly understand that change is a constant and responding to competition and economic shifts is actually a daily task. However, some of the best leaders at Jaguar Land Rover or at Unilever know that they need to plan ahead in advance so that they can better safeguard their assets and from further uncertainties. And coming to the right conclusions and planning for the future is key for business success. Alright students, with that we have come towards the very end of this video, and to give you a short recap of what we have covered today, we have talked about the importance of external influences on businesses, and that includes possible responses by businesses to changes in technology, legislation, and the economic climate. And students, of course, I'd like to thank you for watching this video, and if you've liked this video, do subscribe to our channel since we post regularly on different topics and subjects that can help you ace your GCSEs. And of course, for more information on our online tutoring services, do visit our website at www.quickstudy.uk. Thank you.